Hi everyone, I hope that you are all well and welcome to today's video. In this video, which is the first of probably many videos on product security engineering, we are going to be looking at CICD pipelines. Specifically, we are going to look at a solution offered by Google that makes everything easier. In this video, I'm going to be taking you through a solution offered by Google called Cloud Build. And what is Cloud Build? So if you have interacted with various CICD pipeline tools, then you know that the process is usually the same. You define how you want your pipeline to run, including the security tools, for example, and all other tests that need to be done. And then you let it run. And if there's any issue, then it fails, and then you have to edit it. And then that is when it will pass. That is no different here because this tool just simplifies everything. And if you're in the Google ecosystem, then this is the perfect tool for you. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand how it works and how it can be applied in your scenario. And speaking of scenarios, picture this. You are the product security engineer at an organization and you're about to launch a new product. But of course, this product cannot be deployed unless you have conducted the necessary tests. In your case, security tests. So how do you go about this? There are many ways of doing this, and there are many ways of implementing CICD pipelines. But in this scenario, you have decided to use Cloud Build by Google because you have heard of its benefits and you have interacted with it. So how will you go about this? So the first step will be to, of course, set it up. Set up the tool, set up your environment on cloud, and that is what you're going to do. So as you can see, I already have a project called Product Security Operations. You can name it however you want, of course. And once you do this, you are going to go to Cloud Build. You just type it there and you'll see it as a product. So as you can see, it has been written Continuous Integration Delivery Platform. Click that. So as you can see, it has all these many builds, but we're not going to focus on that. What I want you to focus on is once you have, well, if you have never used this, then chances are you land on the page that will ask you to enable it. Click that. And once you have enabled it, I also want you to go to IAM and then go to service accounts. And then you can create a new service account with the specific permissions needed to run this. So actually, let me just show you what it looks like so that, because there's something interesting that I came across that I wanted to show you. Well, this is just managing permissions because as you know, the biggest vulnerabilities on the cloud are misconfiguration. So this is very important. So usually you'll have a default service account, but of course, since we understand the principle of least privilege, we're going to create a new one. I already have mine, but for you, you will create a new service account. So the name, we can just write demo service account. Let's use hyphens to make this more readable. Yes. And then click create and continue. Now this is the part that I wanted to show you. I know they have marked it as optional, but if you're in security, in cybersecurity to be specific, then you know that this is very important. So currently used, you're just going to click that. Let me see if we click Cloud Build, if it will. Yes. So it will already have a role predefined, and that is what you're going to use. So that is just what I wanted to show you. So let me just go back to Cloud Build. Now, once you enable Cloud Build, you are supposed to now go to triggers, because the point is we need to create a trigger. And a trigger, let me just go to this tab to show you. A trigger is essentially a configuration that we set that will automatically run whenever we make any changes, and they've even defined it here. So they've said that it automatically starts a build whenever you make any changes. This is typical in any CICD pipeline because it runs on automation. We make some changes and then it automatically goes through the product and then flags any issues that may be present. I already created mine. So for you, you're just going to click create trigger. You're going to write a name. Of course, the region, if you need to customize it, you're going to do it here. And then for us, we're going to be using push to branch just to make it simple, because we are pushing directly to the main branch. If, of course, in a real world setting, you will probably use this pull request. But of course, for simplicity, I'm just going to use push to branch. And then Cloud Build repositories. Also, if you have never used Cloud Build before, you're going to have to integrate it to your GitHub. So ideally, once you create a trigger, actually before this, there is a button for connecting repositories. You're going to connect that, and then you're going to select your repositories and everything. Well, since I've already done that, I'm not going to show it here, but that is quite a straightforward configuration. So that should not be something that will challenge or obstruct you. So once you click these, of course, first gen, by this point you can select. I already selected mine, and I'm going to show you the project. You select it. You can also select, well, let me show you something. If we select this, then we can just put any branch. But because, well, there are some parts that I'm going to show you in the project, and I'm going to tell you why this is the case. But I'm just going to, yeah, that is pretty much it. Now, this is what I was talking about, auto-detected. How you connect Cloud Build and a project on GitHub, or I believe in any project, is by using a configuration file, which I'm going to show you. And then if you want to manually set it, then you can do this. But of course, Google makes it easier because you can auto-detect the file. And it is in that file that you're going to define all the steps. You're essentially going to define your CICD pipeline in the cloudbuild.yaml file. And you have to name it that because, well, that is how they've configured it to run. You're going to select repository and all this. So I'm going through this quickly because all this depends on your specific use case, and feel free to play around with the rest of them just so that you can understand which one is best for you. And as you remember, we created a service account, so that is what we're going to do. So in my project, I have all these different service accounts. I'm even supposed to delete one because that was for demo purposes, but you're going to select it and then click OK. But since we are not creating a new trigger, we're just going to go back, and I'm going to show you what mine looks like. Yeah, these are just my settings. Now, you remember the YAML file, right? So this is a sample project that I'm going to be using. It is a project I worked on some time ago, as you can see, last year. But, well, this is a Kotlin multi-platform project, which simply means it has both Android and iOS configurations. This is a mobile application, to be specific. But I'm not going to go into the details. Use whichever project you are working on. Well, to be specific, product. Remember our use case earlier? You are supposed to test a product that is about to go to your customers. So imagine that this is that, right? Now, the interesting part in this project is going to be this one. So you're going to create this file at the root of your repository, and this is what mine looks like. So mine is very simple because I just wanted to demonstrate what this can do. The first step is to run a tool called GitLeaks, and GitLeaks is used to detect secrets. So as you know, one of the issues that we're going to run into in product security engineering is when software engineers push code that has secrets. Secrets, as you know, are just a secret is anything that should not be seen by anyone else. So credentials and whatnot, API keys, all that. And then this is just a custom message that I put, but you can configure this to be tailored to your use case. And then this one is just to allow logging so that you can see the logs on Cloud Build. That is pretty much it. So once you have that, you can now connect. As you can see, this is the setting that I was talking about. So when you click that, you can select GitHub, you continue, you're going to authenticate. I'm not going to do that just because I already have it, but you're going to do that, authenticate, select your repository. This is my account. You select your repository, and then now you connect. And when you connect, it will, of course, ask you to authenticate, to authorize, and then you'll have your trigger running here. Now, once you have all this set up, what do you do? So In this demo, I'm going to do it in two parts. The first part will be showing you how it runs normally, and then we are going to, in the second part, we are going to intentionally introduce a vulnerability, a security vulnerability, so that you can see how it will be flagged. So what I'm going to do to initiate a build is to make a change. So let me go to my terminal. I'm already in the project. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to edit the README so that we can have a change. You can do whatever you want here, as long as you make a change that will initiate the CICD pipeline. So I'm going to sudo vim. I'm using vim. You can use whichever editor that you prefer. Yes. In this README, I'm not going to do anything complicated. So let me just hit I, and then let me just make a small change. This is my first ever, that is in caps lock, ever DevSecOps project, right? WQ to save and exit. Yes, there it is. So let us check if it has been recorded. Git starters. Well, this is nothing to commit because I'd already made that in a previous demo. So let me just edit it again. This is my first absolutely I'm not as creative today. This is my first absolutely ever DevSecOps project. Yeah, that should do it. Save and exit. And then let us check. Yes, the change has been tracked. So we are going to add this. I'm going to add all because there's nothing else that has been changed. But ideally, you would do that. Yes. So let us do a commit. Let us enter a message. Modify the README. Yeah. And then we are going to push this to the main branch. So if you remember, let me go back. If you remember, we had set this to our trigger to run when we push to the main branch. If we were doing the pull request way, we would of course check out a new branch, make this change, push, initiate a pull request, but all that is a little bit, well, it is not complicated or complex. I just wanted to make this simple. So I'm just going to push this to main. Git push origin main, I believe that is the command. Well, there is an error. Let me try to git pull to see if there's a change that I made on the repository that was not tracked. All right, you know what? This one is a little bit, it has errors because I had already done previous demos and I did not sync all these changes. So just to save time, let us just do this on the UI. So I'm just going to go to the repository, the README, and then we're going to change it from here just to keep it simple. Let me edit this. Oh yeah, let us just change this to caps lock. This is my first. Yeah, this one is enough. Modify the README. Yes. Commit. So that is done. I already had GitHub's workflow here, so it is running, but we are more interested in this. So we are going to go to dashboard. And as you can see here, it is running. So this is our CICD pipeline running, and it returns a success because there are no issues in our product. So in your scenario, that would be your product having no issues, and then you can deploy it to your customers and everyone is happy. But of course, if you have done this for a long enough time, you know that is hardly the reality. The reality is that you're going to run into many issues. So let us simulate that. Do not worry about this. Mine has different values because, like I said, I did different demos. Well, it returned different test results. So that is why some of them failed. Now, how do we simulate this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce secrets. So I already had sample secrets here. These are dummy values. Of course, do not use real secrets for obvious reasons. I'm going to copy these and then put them in my project. So I'm going to add a new file and we are going to call it, oh, sorry, it's in caps lock, secrets.txt. Then we're going to paste the secrets here. So this is our scenario, is that in our product, our software engineers had coded all these secrets and made them visible for everyone to see. Not the best practice, obviously. Add the sample secrets. Commit. So let us refresh this to see the new build. As you can see, it fails, and let us click to see why exactly it fails. As expected, they have said that the GitLeaks step has failed, and we can scroll to see why exactly it fails. Yes, so in the log, you can see that the secrets were discovered, and that is why GitLeaks flagged the issues and returned an error, which is why the build failed. This is just another summary for you to see the detailed logs. Yeah, so GitLeaks has returned all these, one leak found. Yeah, so that is pretty much it. In case you're wondering, the reason it only flagged one is because, well, the values I used are common values. So in the latest versions, I read in the documentation that some values may be ignored because they're considered, well, normal. So be sure to configure this tool to flag any sort of credentials that may be found in your product. Anyway, that was a quick demo on how to use Cloud Build. This is by no means exhaustive. Be sure to play around with it, test it out on different use cases, connect it to different projects, and just get to learn how all this ties together. And with that, I have demonstrated to you how to implement Cloud Build as your CICD tool. This is very essential in product security because in our scenario, well, we have flagged those security vulnerabilities, and then we go back to our software engineers and tell them, please fix this, remove these secrets, and then we run it again. As you can see, there's retry build here, and then that is how you can essentially implement your CICD pipeline. So thank you for watching up to this point. It was quite interesting to explore this tool. I'll be, of course, posting many others because, well, this is product security, and my tool of choice, my platform of choice has been Google Cloud because I've used it enough to understand how it benefits my use cases. All right, so thank you everyone, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning up to this point. I will be seeing you in the next video, and until then, be sure to explore this tool, play around with it, implement as many configurations as possible. Well, of course, take care of make sure you have enough credits or you have set your billing alerts, because if you have done cloud for some time, then you know how scary the bills can get. But anyway, that has been today's demo, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you and bye-bye.